Hi everyone, my name is Elsa. Welcome or welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to do my August TBR. As you might know, I have this Disney TBR game that I just love, and until now I didn't have the cards, the physical cards, because I did them on my computer, then sent them to print in the States. They didn't arrive. Long story short, I printed them myself, so the quality isn't as good, but I have them, that's what matters. And I'm so excited to do this round with the physical cards finally. Let's dive into the game. Hey guys, let's do this game. Just a quick reminder, we are starting here and we have to go all the way here. I don't have a set number of rules. I will stop the game when I reach this point. And when I cross the finish line, I will still have to pick one last book, which will be a standalone. I will pick, at random on Goodreads with a number generator. So that's for the rules. And then you have my 5 deck of cards. So each one is a different type of prompts. These prompts, the Hercules ones, are prompts about the genre. So a fantasy book, a sci-fi book, something like that. Then you have the Incredibles. So Incredibles are content prompts, so a book with siblings, a book with witches, something like that. Then you have Monsters and Sea. So these ones are Goodreads generators. So I have several shelves you will see on Goodreads, and if I pick one of them, I will have to use a number generator on the specific Goodreads shelf. The Suns from Tangled are from author prompts, so a POC author or an Asian author or something like that. And finally we have Atlantis. And so for Atlantis we have book prompts, so a book over 500 pages or a book that I own, something like that. And finally you have this jar. So in this jar I have the title of sequels of series I'm currently reading. So if I fall on this little thing, I will have to pick at random one of these books. So here's for the rules. Let's start this game. So today we're going to be Simba. So we're going to start here, and here's for the first rule. 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6. So a Sun one. Oh, a book written by a Pacific Islander or Australian author. So I got read a book written by a Pacific Islander or Australian author. And so for this one I chose Hollowpox, which is the last book that came out in the Nevermore series, written by Jessica Townsend, I think her name is, and she's Australian, so it fits the prompt. And as I just finished reading the second book, The Calling of Morrigan Crow, I gave it 5 stars, I loved it, and so I can't wait, to keep reading this series, and so this is just perfect. Next rule. 1. Ooh, Atlantis. So, which one is it? Oh, read a book you keep seeing everywhere. Let me show you. Read a book you keep seeing everywhere. So I got a book you keep seeing everywhere. So for this one I chose our book club pick. If you don't know, I'm part of the Dragons Library book club. So we have a Discord, and every month we read one adult fantasy book. And so this month it's going to be Starless Sea. And you might be a bit, surprised if you've seen my NTTBR tag, because I had said that I didn't want to read this book because it was written by Erin Morgensten, who also wrote The Night Circus, and The Night Circus wasn't for me. Like, it really wasn't. The character work was really, low, and there was almost no plot, and it was very much about the atmosphere and the setting. And although I totally agree, the atmosphere and the setting were wonderful, this just didn't work for me. I'm a character-driven reader. If I don't have the characters and at least a small plot, it won't work. And so this really just wasn't for me. Like, I totally get why people love it, but it's not for me. And so, as it is written by the same author, I kind of thought that Starless Sea wouldn't be for me either, but it is our book club pick. So there's that. There's also the fact that I noticed that a lot of booktubers I follow and love this book. And as we tend to have similar tastes, and I just think that maybe the Starless Sea will be more for me than Night Circus. I hope it will be anyway. I'm a bit, on the defense on this one, but we will see. And with some luck, I will be, pleasantly surprised, and we'll have a 5 stars review for you guys. We will see. Next rule. 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, incredible. We're getting everything today. And this is... Oh, so cool! Read a book with a magical school. So I got Magical School. I just love this trope so much, and I decided to read finally the 26th volume of My Hero Academia. So My Hero Academia is one of my favorite manga series of all time, and I have 3 volumes to read: 26th, 27th, 28th, and I think the 29th just came out, and so I have to binge read all of them. And so this is the perfect opportunity. I will read all of them this month. Next roll. 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, this is scary. Disney jar. What do we have? So, what is it? Oh, Days of Blood and Starlight. So I picked Days of Blood and Starlight. So this is the second volume in the Daughter of Smoke and Bone trilogy by Laini Taylor, who also wrote TheFrenchBookDreamer. TheFrenchBookDreamer is one of my favorite series of all time, so I was expecting a lot. It delivered on some parts, but I wasn't crazy about the entire book. And so I think I gave it 3.8 stars, something like that. And even though I liked it, I wasn't in love with it, and so, you know, I'm not that eager to read the second volume, but at the same time, I just like to read the series, you know, quite quickly and not wait too long between each volume, because then I forget everything and I hate that. So it's a good thing, and I already had planned to read the second volume in the trilogy in July, but I didn't have the time, so I'm going to read it in August. And I really hope this one will be at least a 4 stars. Next roll. 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, again. Oh, sorry. So, what are we getting? Oh my gosh. Jade. And so I got Jade. So let me explain. It's not that I don't want to read it, but I had a lot of expectations with this series because everyone was raving about it and it sounded exactly like the type of thing I love. But I was a bit disappointed by it. I think I gave it 3.8 stars, and there are some parts I really loved, like I loved the setting, I loved the world building, I loved the clan aspect of this book, and the character work was there, but I just didn't connect to the characters, like I didn't fall in love with any of them, and it was a bit slow paced and not exactly the kind of story I wanted to read about. But that being said, it was because the first book needed a lot of setting up, and now that it's done, I think we're going to know to go straight into the book, and so the second volume should be better. I'm just a bit stressed because I'm afraid I won't like it, and it's also a big chunk of a book, and I had, you know, planned to read different books this month, and in the end, because this one is so chunky, I won't have the time and I will have to read them in September. So that's not awful, it just, you know, kind of changed my plans a bit, but I planned on reading it, and so this is a good time to do it. Last roll. 1, 2. So this isn't the last roll. Oh my gosh, I don't want this one. No. Choose a non-fiction on your Goodreads with a number generator. So I got a non-fiction. So I don't read much non-fiction, it's not really my thing. But this is why I have this prompt, to force me to read books that I wouldn't normally read. And as it happens, I have a few non-fiction that I was planning on reading that I think will be very interesting. It's just that compared to fiction, it always lost, and that's why you know, I've been pushing the moment I will finally read them, but this month it's going to happen. And so I chose Educated. This is supposed to be a memoir about this woman who was raised by a family that believed in the end of the world, and so she was raised in a very isolated area. She didn't have access to education, and this is the story of how she got her education and eventually went to university. And this sounds very interesting, and I'm just really eager to read it. Even though it's non-fiction, it's not really my thing. This one seems really good. Next roll, let's hope it's the last one. 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah! We crossed the finish line, so I will have to, you know, pick a book at random on Goodreads on my standalone shelf. Let's see what I got. So I have this standalone, you know, shelf on my Goodreads, and I use a number generator, and I got A List of Cages. A List of Cages is a young adult contemporary that I have been meaning to read for so long. It has a very high Goodreads rating, and it sounds like exactly what I love. It is about two foster brothers, and one of them has a lot of problems and the other one is trying to help him. And I don't know, it just sounds great and I can't wait to read it. So that's it for my TBR, and I'm just, this isn't really the TBR I would have picked for myself if I didn't have the game, but that's why I have a game, to, push my limits. And that might be good because I tend to be disappointed by books that I have a lot of expectations for, and be pleasantly surprised by books I had no expectations going in. For half of this book I have no expectation or not a lot of expectations, and so with some luck I will just be wrong and love all of them. That's what I'm hoping for anyway. I'm also planning on participating in 2 readathons. So the first one is the Avatar readathon. I just love Avatar: The Last Airbender. It's one of my favorite shows of all time, and so I'm so happy to participate. I will link down below the announcement video if you want to join. I personally chose to participate in with the Water Tribe, and I'm just so excited. So for the Water Tribe we have 4 prompts. So the first one is a book with siblings. So for this one I chose A List of Cages because it was already on my TBR. I also have to pick a book with a blue cover. So for this one I choose The Starless Sea, same because it was already on my TBR. Then we had to read a book with a polar setting. So for this one I had to add a book, and I chose The Smell of Other People's Houses. So this is a very short young adult book, and it is supposed to be very good and set in this, secluded area, I think in Alaska. And you have these 5 characters that have very different lives that all spend the night in this cabin and just talk about their lives, and it just sounds very moving and interesting, and I don't know, I really hope I will love it. The last prompt was to have a book with a moon on the cover. So for this one I chose Conspiracy of Truths. You can't see it, but you have a little moon, 2 moons actually on the corners. So yeah, I heard nobody talk about this book, but I recently read Goblin Emperor and I completely fell in love with it, and I discovered that this book is part of the hop punk genre. So I didn't know about this genre, and it's supposed to be books that have hopeful messages with main characters that are really good people that have extremely high moral values and that don't compromise. And so throughout the book they have to face a lot of obstacles, but they just overcome it over and over again without having to, relinquish their own moral values. And I just love that so much, and that's what I loved in Goblin Emperor. And so I searched for books that were also hop punk books, and this one came out, and it just sounds really interesting, and I'm just, so curious about it, so we will see. We also have a group book, so all teams have to read this book, and it is The Rise of Kyoshi, which is just perfect because I just bought it and I absolutely want to read it, so this will be on my TBR as well. And the other readathon I'm going to be participating in is the Enneagram readathon. So this one is supposed to be based on your Enneagram, so you have 9 personality types, and so there are 9 teams for the 9 types, and each team has different prompts. I'm type 1, so I joined the type 1 group, and our prompts are: we have to read a book with even pages, so I chose The Starless Sea for this one because I just didn't want to add more books to my TBR. Then a 5-star predictions. I also chose A List of Cages because 2 readathons are taking place at the same time, and so I'm hoping to read both and count them for both readathons. We also have to read a book with a seemingly perfect character. So for this one I chose The Rise of Kyoshi because she's an avatar, so she's supposed to be perfect. We will see. We also have to read a buddy read, and so you can pick a book from any team. I just didn't really want to read the book that was the suggested buddy read for my team, so I chose the book from another team, which is The Maidens. The author also wrote The Silent Voice, which is a thriller that I really loved, and so this just came out, and I've been meaning to read it, so this is just perfect, and so I can't wait to read it. I also plan on continuing Assassin's Quest because it's complicated, but I started it in July, but I haven't finished it. My other buddy read is with John over at Walker Ride 7. Love you, John. And so we're going to buddy read Mask of Mirrors. So I heard great things about this one, and I can't wait to read it. So that's it for my TBR. It is a very ambitious TBR, and I'm going to be easy on myself next month, but this month was what it was. But yeah, this is a bit ambitious, but this is the game, so we will see if I can manage to read them all. I'm so excited as always, and please tell me in the comments if you've read any of the books I mentioned or plan on reading them, and please don't forget to like and subscribe if you like this video. Thank you so much for watching. See you around, guys.